Hi, I'm Ross Welty. I'm the founder of Five Stone Financial Group, and today we're going to talk about the Rule of 55. We're going to talk about 4 things you need to know about this rule and a few words of caution in regards to it. So what is this rule? The Rule of 55 is an IRS rule that acknowledges that some people lose or leave their jobs prior to being age 59 and a half. And when that happens, they may need or want to begin making distributions from their 401k plan. Unfortunately, there's also a rule that says if you take distributions from retirement plans before you're 59 and a half years old, you will be subject to a 10% penalty on those distributions, on top of the tax that you owe. This is where the Rule of 55 comes in. So what it says is if in the calendar year that you turn 55 or older and you lose your job or leave your job, you can begin taking distributions from your 401k plan without that 10% penalty. Can't do anything about the taxes though. Those are coming no matter what. So this doesn't only apply to 401ks. This is other workplace plans like 403bs. So if you have an employer plan and you're in a position where you're thinking about retiring early or you lose that job, you want to double check in that summary plan description that you would have received or have access to in your 401k portal to see if this works for your employer plan. Now let's get into 4 things you need to know about this rule. So number 1 is you can only withdraw from the plan specific to your most recent employer. So that employer that you left or were let go from, that's the only plan that this rule applies to. Number 2 is you must lose or leave your job in the calendar year that you turn age 55 or older. So just as an aside to that, if you lost or left your job at age 53, you can't just wait until you're 55 and then start taking withdrawals from that plan. You have to be 55 when this event happens. So rule number 3 is that balance, the money you have in that plan, must stay in the employer's 401k, in that employer's 401k, while you're taking those withdrawals. So if you took that money and rolled it over to an IRA, the Rule of 55 no longer applies. However, if you have a lot of money in a 401k plan, you know you're not going to spend all of that in the 5 years between getting laid off or leaving the job and turning 59 and a half. You can roll over a portion of that balance to your IRA account and continue to spend from the remaining balance in the 401k. Number 4, you can do this even if you eventually get another job. So let's say you're 55 and you retired and you've been taking these distributions under the Rule of 55, and then you decide, I'm going to get a part-time job. If you're me, you probably want to go work at a golf course or something like that. But even if you have another job, you can continue taking those Rule of 55 distributions. However, you may not want to. If that part-time job or whatever you're doing is providing enough income to cover your expenses, it may not be the wisest decision to be taking money out of these retirement accounts early. And a little bit of a bonus rule here. There is a special part of this rule for public safety employees. So this would be like police officers, firefighters, EMTs, air traffic controllers. For them, the Rule of 55 actually applies at age 50. So a little bit of a bonus there for them. So now that we know what the Rule of 55 is and have a few points of understanding about it, let's talk about a few points of caution. So first, just because you can doesn't mean you should. If you're pulling money out from these retirement plans, that is money that no longer gets to benefit from the long-term compound growth that you expect in your retirement accounts. So if you have other sources, if you have brokerage accounts or non-retirement investment accounts, if you have other sources of income that can help cover your expenses from age 55 to 59 and a half or bridge that gap, it may behoove you to take advantage of those instead. If you do get another job and you can cover your costs that way, you probably don't want to dip into your retirement savings. And the third point of caution is you want to be aware that for a lot of employers, when a 401k account balance dips below a certain level for a separated employee, they will automatically roll that balance into an IRA. And once that happens, the rule of 55 no longer applies, and those distributions are no longer penalty free. So you need to know the rules of your specific plan to make any kind of good decision about this. So that's the rule of 55. If you're considering early retirement, or you're in a bad situation where you got let go from your job at 55 or later, and you need help determining if you have the means to retire or if you're able to take advantage of this rule, we can help. At Five Stone Financial Group, this is what we do every day. We help people transition into that next stage of their life confidently. So you can follow the link down in the description and start the conversation with us. I'm Ross Welty. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.